spread the ball, catch from the school all year. Everybody got me? Yeah. It's a hell of a job, Cat. A great job by teammates doing what? Finally moving the basketball, you got me? But Devin Barnes looked like a damn junior high defensive player last week. Everybody got me? Hey, and he led us in steals tonight.
Took a week off from the podcast on the Golding Hour, but we are back. We're 1-0, and we got a big one on Saturday. Joe Golding, the head coach of the Miners. We got David Terrell coming up as a guest later on the show. Fantastic as always, one of the best guys. Really, I think in El Paso, he's one of my favorite people in the world, honestly. But he's great on the podcast. But we're going to talk some ball first, Coach. A win over Sul Ross to get to 1-0 before a pretty big road trip this weekend.
Yeah, it was great to be back at the Dawn, right? We had done so much traveling and played, all over the world, basically. But to be back in the Dawn in front of our home fans, very appreciative of our fan base for showing up at the game. I thought the game went as planned. Got to play guys a bunch of minutes. Everybody got the opportunity to play. I thought there were a lot of positives that came out of it. Obviously, the level of competition is going to rise this weekend. But I thought there were some good things that happened the other night.
I went on the radio show with Steve Kaplowitz last night to talk a little ball and break down the Sul Ross game and also look ahead to Utah Valley. And he said, and I think it's a fair point, you did what you're supposed to do against Sul Ross. Did you see improvements from New Mexico to Sul Ross that were encouraging for you?
I think offensively our ball movement, right, was better than it was against New Mexico, so that was pleasing to see. We still have to do it again against real competition, I thought I did think our ball movement was better. I think we ended up with 23 assists. I like the way we're valuing the basketball. That's 2 games in a row, New Mexico game and Sul Ross game, where we've taken care of the basketball and we valued the basketball. I think that's important. That's something we've stressed really hard all summer and all fall, and our guys are buying into it. That's something that's key. Defensively, you look at the New Mexico game, we were able to turn them over 25 times. I think we turned Sul Ross over 25 times as well. So we're starting to force some turnovers. The good thing is against Sul Ross, we scored on those turnovers. We turned those into transition points. So, a lot of positives. I thought we shot the ball well. Obviously Trey and Bynum shot the ball really well, but their shots were good shots. Our ball movement was good. We found them in the right spots. It wasn't a lot of ISO play. We had a lot better player movement off ball. I thought, it went as scripted. Those nights are fun when everything's clicking like that.
You brought up Bynum, obviously coming off the bench, scoring 20 points in his UTEP debut, and it's kind of been a tug and pull, I think, throughout the preseason with him, because those are the things he can do, right? He can hit tough shots, but you also want him playing, within the offense as well.
Yeah. And, the best thing about Bynum is we're working on a relationship, right? We're getting a great relationship. I love coaching the kid. He's got a great way about him. He works his butt off. I'm appreciative of him. He's getting better and better defensively. We're asking him to do some things defensively he's never done in his life. He's completely bought into that floor. He's trying to get better. He's watching tape with Coach Miller and really working hard on that end of the floor. I think he can be an exceptional defensive player if he'll continue to buy in. On that floor. He's been able to score a ball since he's been in the crib, right? It's just how he's wired. He thinks every time he touches it, he can score it. And we needed that on our team, right? We needed some guy that can go get us a basket and a bucket. But there's times where he's going to have to break off things, especially late shot clock maybe, as we get going here and do some things and play some ISO with some ISO situations. But right now we want it within the framework of where with our team and what we're trying to do together with the ball movement stuff and what we're trying to get accomplished. And he understands that. He knows that. And again, it's just it's coaching, right? It's something you work on each and every day. You build relationships with the kids. You coach, and you tell him what you want him to do, and eventually you get on the same page, right? But I thought his shots were great the other night. I thought he took great shots. I think our guys did a great job of finding. Our guys know he can score the basketball, right? And our guys are they're excited that Bynum's on our team, and obviously he's been a lot of fun to coach.
He's told me his favorite player is Jamal Crawford, and you can really see that in his game.
Yeah, absolutely.
One other similarity with him, though, is, Crawford, I think, multi-time 6th man of the year in the NBA.
Yeah.
Cat comes off the bench.
Yeah, we're bringing him off the bench. I haven't even talked to Cat about it, to be honest with you. We just, we're worried about things that matter, right? To me, starting doesn't matter. I like him right now coming off the bench. I think with him and Trey, we bring some offense immediately right in off the bench of 2 guys that can really shoot the basketball and score it. We were probably a little bit better defensively with that original starting group, and then we bring those two guys in and we get better offensively. So I like both those guys coming off the bench. I've never been big on starting, not starting. I know it's important, man. Obviously, I played, and I get it. It's important, man. But Cat's good enough to start. So is Trey. Trey's playing really well right now. I'm really excited about Trey and what he's doing on both ends of the floor and his toughness that he's displaying right now. But I've never, but I do think he gives us a spark off the bench. Nice turnover there, by the way, man. Take your time, man. Get your sheet, man.
Drop my piece of paper. Let me grab that.
Got to get you value on the ball too, man.
I had a rec league game last night and wasn't very good, so it's tough out here. It's November. Got to push through it. We got UTEP Zay right on the radio.
Yeah.
Here, I got a nickname for you for Trey Horton if you keep shooting the ball. It's UTEP Clay.
UTEP Clay.
UTEP Clay.
How about that? Trey can really, really shoot the basketball, man. Where he's really, really improved is he's gotten so much better with his motor. He's getting better, learning how to play hard. He's getting obviously way better on the defensive end. He understands what's going on the defensive end. He's gotten better at rotations, and then the toughness. He's playing with the toughness right now. He's lost 2 front teeth already. He got them replaced. He lost them again in the New Mexico game. Or he lost one of them, I guess, in the New Mexico game. I think he's gotten that put back in by now, but he's got a toughness about him right now. And we're going to need that from Trey, and I'm proud of where he is headed.
Gotcha. And obviously, you talk about newcomers a lot with Bynum and Barnes. A guy that I think has been super steady throughout the preseason, and then on Monday as well, Otis Frazier. He's just taken a step to me.
Man, I love Otis, right, man? He's been with us for 3 years, man. He's made a step every year in this program. He's about the right things. He's about winning. That's all he cares about is winning. He's turned himself into one of the best defensive, if not the best defensive player in our league. I know Bacho does it a different way by protecting the rim, but they're both elite at what they do. Otis is terrific. He loves that matchup. He loves that every game. He's rebounds the basketball. He's a great cutter. He's worked on his outside shooting, which we're allowing him to shoot the basketball a little bit more this season. He's just playing with a great confidence about him. I've got tremendous confidence and trust in him. I think he has trust and confidence in me. And when you have that relationship with player coach, great things happen, man. So I'm just really proud of him. Obviously, he's growing in his leadership deal. It's something that we continue to talk to him about. He's got to talk more. He's got that's out of his comfort zone a little bit, but he's got to get to where he's talking and he's more vocal on leadership things. It's easy for DT, who we're going to talk to in a little bit. That's his comfort zone. It's a little out of Otis's, but we got to get more out of him about that. But really, really proud of Otis.
And I was going to actually bring that up because he isn't the loudest guy, right?
Yeah.
But I think in seeing it every day firsthand, which is different from what I've seen, in previous years, he leads by example.
Yeah, he's an example guy. He's an everyday guy, right?
Yeah.
Otis is kind of likes being by himself sometimes, man. He lives by himself. He kind of likes being by himself. But in team sports, it can't be that way, right? You got to be vocal. He's played here 3 years. That locker room knows how much I trust him and the confidence I have, and he's got to lead that locker room the way I want that locker room led, right? And he knows what I want. He knows what I want practice to look like. He knows what I want scout to look like. He knows what I want pregame to look like. And so he's got to lead, right? He's got to lead by example on those things, and he also has to lead by his voice.
All right, let's switch things to Utah Valley now. A really good mid-major program the last couple of years. Went to the Final Four of the NIT 2 years ago. I think they're 150 in KenPom right now early in the year, which is pretty good for a WAC team at this point in the season. What are you kind of expecting in this step up in competition?
Yeah, I've never studied them. To be honest, it's the first time I've ever played there.
First matchup between UTEP and Utah Valley.
Really? Yeah. So, but very impressed with what they've done in their program. Obviously, when you look at their history, I think they're 40-something and 11 over the last 3 or 4 years at home. They've obviously played really well at home, and they've played well on the road. Brett Tanner, who worked for me at ACU, the head coach there now, has told me about how great of a job it is and how great of a program it is. And so just really diving into them the last 48 hours, man, just been very impressed. They're very well coached. They have an identity on both sides of the floor. They know who they are. They got great size. They like to throw the ball inside, which I like a bunch. They have a toughness about them with their bigs. Again, great length, hard to score. They keep the ball in front. They're really, really good in transition. They get up and down the floor fast. They share the basketball. Again, very well coached, man, right? You can tell that and so we're going to have our work cut out for us, right? It's again, tough place to play. Great challenge for us early in the season.
Does the scouting report from New Mexico carry over at all to Utah Valley?
Yeah, I think it will a little bit. Obviously, New Mexico is great in transition, right? And so Utah Valley is the same. They're really, really good in transition. They want to get stops and force turnovers and get out and run the floor. Their bigs run as good as maybe we'll play all season long. Their bigs are tremendous at getting out and running the floor, which the problem with that is when their bigs run the floor like that, our guards have to stay in the hole until our bigs get back in there, which you're suspect then to giving up some threes, right, in transition. So our bigs are going to have to do a good job of sprinting with their bigs, right? And so obviously we've talked a lot to Kevin and Derek and Elijah and those guys. Their motors are going to have to be on Saturday afternoon, right, to be able to get back. Because if our bigs can get back, then our guards can get out. So, we're obviously extremely concerned about transition defense, and we're concerned about the rebound deal. The Potter kid's an elite offensive rebounder.
Welling, too. Both Wellings, actually.
Both Welling brothers are really good on the glass. They had 4 offensive rebounds off free throws in their first game. So, obviously I know that's something that we're going to have to improve on from the New Mexico game because they're going to come to the glass, they're going to come hard, and we got to do a good job of limiting them to one shot.
Yeah, and I guess you look at the Utah school, BYU, Utah Valley. They were almost ahead of their time in terms of getting older guys because of obviously the missions that the LDS schools, guys will take. This Utah Valley team, no different. I mean, they'll have 4 or 5 guys, maybe more than that, who are in their mid-20s that are freshmen and sophomores.
They're older, older team, mature team. And I think this is a fairly new team. I think they have some new players. I think they lost some guys from last year. I think they have 2 starters back, the 4-man and then the guard, Tolson, who's extremely talented and can really score the basketball in a variety of different ways. And again, you can tell they're very well coached, right? Very well coached, and they have an identity again on both sides of the ball. It's easy to see that. And we're going on the road, man. Hostile environment. It's never easy to win on the road.
That's been obviously a point of emphasis for you all off season. Obviously, trip to the Bahamas, Chihuahua, Juarez, going to UNM. Was that calculated at all, given the struggles last year?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a mindset, right, on the road, and you got to. The earlier you have success on the road, you tendency to have more success on the road, right? It just took us longer last year, right? We didn't get it till Jacksonville State and then in February, so we had a lot of opportunities to win on the road. We just couldn't get it done, and so it's a mindset. It's tough. It's tough to win on the road, man. It's a mindset that when you get on that bus, when you get on to the airport, you got to lock in, man, and you got to lock in. It's everything's different. Food's different. Hotels are different. Your schedule's different. Everything is just different, right? And so you're out of your comfort zone on everything. And so you got to really lock in, and you got to be tough-minded. You got to have a toughness about you. You're going to get hit in the face a bunch of times. With adversity, there's going to be a lot of momentum that goes the home team's way, and you got to be tough enough to withstand that. I thought in the New Mexico game, that was one positive that came out of that game is we got punched in the face a bunch, and we were able to withstand it, right, and go punch right back. So, again, we've been in a hostile environment already once, and so hopefully, that we can handle this one a little bit better.
Before we get to David Terrell here on the podcast, give me, from the exhibition game in New Mexico and then obviously Sul Ross, those are probably the 2 best indicators right now, most encouraging point about this team.
You know what I enjoy about this team, man, is they bring it every day, right? They've been fun to coach right now, man. They're coachable. They bring it every day. Our practices have been good. I just enjoy being around this group, man. I think they enjoy, there's that old saying out there, love wins, right? But like this group really does love each other, man. They do, man. There's some real relationships with those guys, but they're not afraid to compete against each other in practice and get after it too, man. So they can separate the two, right? They can compete and go out after each other, make each other better. And then as soon as they walk off that floor, put their arm around each other and have a ton of fun together. So, I think this team, you can tell that they play with the joy. They play for each other. If we can continue that for 30 more games, it's just hard to do in college basketball. A lot of guys don't play for each other anymore. They don't necessarily even play for their school anymore. And I think this team does, man. This team plays for UTEP and they play for each other.
All right. Moving on, we're about to get DT on the podcast, David Terrell Jr. Legitimately one of my favorite people in the world. And I've had a kind of a cool seat to follow him along. Covered KJ Lewis in high school when I was at KTSM at Chapin. They were on the same AAU team. Chapin played Mansfield Summit, I think, 2 years in a row in the playoffs, and just seeing him grow from a sophomore who wasn't playing a whole lot to a senior in high school who was the leader of that team, did everything ran through him, and then freshman of the year last year in Conference USA to now he's starting as a sophomore. He's one of the leaders of the team vocally. He's hands down the loudest guy on the team. He does, when you say you want the guys talking more, David Terrell, does that.
No, he lives by it. He's a lot of fun to
So-
coach, man. Again, to that point, he's a coachable kid, right? When you can coach your best players and coach your best players hard, and they take coaching, that helps. That helps everybody, man. So we still coach DT really hard. We still think there's better basketball days ahead. He's just going to continue to get better and better, man. But he's a lot of fun to coach.
Yeah, David Terrell, mom played here, is one of the best players in women's basketball history for the UTEP Miners. He's following her footsteps, continuing the legacy. Here's David Terrell.
All right, man, really excited about today's guest, David Terrell. David Terrell's back for his sophomore season. Welcome to the podcast, DT. Good to have you back, man, in the saddle. Let's talk a few things, man, about your journey right here. On this podcast, we kind of talk about different things. Your journey. When did you start playing basketball or falling in love with basketball?
I started playing basketball when I was about 4, I think, in pre-K, and I think I fell in love with it around middle school, like 7th grade. Started taking it really serious around 7th grade, 8th grade.
Yeah. Did you have a good coach in junior high that kind of did that, or?
It was kind of my mom. She was like a coach from the crowd, of course.
Yep.
My mom, she kind of, got me into basketball a lot. Just stayed on me about that.
Yeah, we were going to talk about your mom, but we can go ahead and talk about her now, man. Obviously, one of UTEP's best players coming out, former Miner herself, heck of a hooper, man. Like, how instrumental was she? Did she push basketball onto you early? Did she kind of let you kind of do your own deal, or did you try to play a little football, something else, and she said, "No, DT, you're not doing that"? Or how did Mama handle all that?
She actually pushed football more than basketball. She wanted me to play football because both of my sisters play basketball as well, so she kind of wanted me to play football, but it was kind of hot outside. I didn't like the heat outside, and they were getting big in Texas, so I wouldn't.
People don't understand that, do they?
Yeah, I wasn't trying to play football. So, but once I did start playing basketball, she was very instrumental on, me getting in the gym, not sitting around. That's all I wanted to do when I was younger, just sit around on the game. But she, stayed on me about getting in the gym and the value of hard work for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, she resembles that every day, right? Like, always enjoy my conversations with her. She's a hardworking woman, but she obviously loves your two sisters. She obviously is a big fan of yours, and she gets to make a bunch of home games. It's always great to see her up in the stands. Obviously, you're chasing some of her past here, which is obviously a fun narrative that's going to play out here. Let's talk a little bit about your two sisters. Why don't you share a little bit about that? Obviously, one's coaching now. She claims to be a hell of a volleyball coach, man. Switching over to a little basketball now in Forney, America. And then our other sister is transferred this year and is playing at Texas State. But talk a little bit about them and your relationship with them.
Yeah, I got a good relationship with them. They were kind of like, they try to be my mom as much as my mom is, but I got a lot of love for them. One of them played basketball at UIW. She's at Texas State now. Yep. Playing her last year. And the other one, unfortunately, was at New Mexico State. Yeah,
we don't talk about her very often now, but we still like her. But I never will forget the visit, right? When she came down to the visit, she snuck away that night and went to visit Las Cruces. I didn't know the backstory, man, until breakfast the next morning. But
man,
obviously they're big supporters of you. And I remember putting together your dorm, your mom and your sister up here. And, it's to your point, you kind of have 3 moms, right? But they've always been there to protect you and take care of you. But I tell you what they haven't done. They haven't raised a soft one, right? Like if there was an alpha dog, man, if there was a pitcher, I love dogs, right? You know that, man. I love pit bulls. We talk about that. We don't like poodles around here. We like pit bulls. We're going to need some pit bulls in Utah here in 48 hours, right? In a tough road game. But if somebody resembles that, it's you, right? And how you play the basketball and how you play the game and it's in your DNA, right? Like, and I know they were hard on you growing up as well. But kind of talk a little bit maybe about that.
Really just being tough. I went to a lot of their games growing up, and I think my mom was kind of more hard on them growing up because she experienced what they experienced. So just seeing them and how hard they played, how tough they played, they never took any plays off. It kind of inspired me, to when I play the game, to try to be the best I can. It's nothing worth doing if you're not going to do your best. So I just always had that chip on my shoulder growing up, watching them.
A crazy fact, some people might not realize, I've mentioned this before on the radio, but Homecoming King in Texas is a big deal. If you know anything about Homecoming King in Texas, it's usually won by the, E-Man, crown him up. It's usually won by a football player or a band member because they have the most votes.
Yeah.
Bands in Texas are huge, right? So they control a majority of the votes. Football player, big roster, varsity, JV, freshman, big rosters in football. They control the votes. But for you to get homecoming king in Texas as a Hooper, I don't think people understand the honor that goes in to say. But I also think that says a lot about you, DT, as a leader. I think it says a lot about you as a person. I know Mama was happy. I know when she texted Coach Cox and I when you won that, and we were all excited for you. But talk a little about your leadership qualities, like when you kind of started that, and how comfortable you are in being a leader. And sometimes people don't understand peer leadership's tough. It's not easy, right? Because you have to be an everyday guy. You have to sometimes say things to teammates, right, that are uncomfortable to hold them accountable. But you have to hold yourself accountable every day, right, to be a leader. So talk a little bit about when you started being a leader, when you knew you could be a leader, and when those days kind of started for you.
I feel like it really started around my freshman year of high school when I got to meet Coach Pritchett. He really instilled that into me, being a leader early. Throughout the 4 years, I was going to have to lead with the group. And I feel like that helped me a lot, talking to older guys just as much as I'm getting talked to. And I know it is kind of hard, being younger and you're talking to dudes older than you. But I feel like if you're doing that every day, they're gonna have to respect it, and it's just gonna have good turnover in the end.
Shout out to Coach Pritchett, one of the real ones out there.
No
Hell of a basketball coach. He's got my DNA, man. I remember going to watch you practice for the first time. The first 30 minutes, y'all didn't touch a basketball. You were just doing zigzag lines all over the floor, and I knew right then, right, there was going to be a great marriage between you and I. And Coach Pritchett, he's obviously about the right things. He's won a ton of basketball games, and I know he plays a big part in your life still today. Let's fast forward real quick to our team. This year, obviously, we're off to a 1-0 start. Had a big win the other night at home against Sul Ross. We're going on the road, first road trip at Utah Valley. Got a tough test ahead. It's a tough place to play. They obviously have had a ton of success at home, and really well coached team. Talk about a little bit about this year's team, man. What you're enjoying so much about this year's team. Maybe some of the things behind the scenes that you've got going on with them.
Really, the main thing that I really like about this team is just the togetherness that we have, man. It's just, ever since we all met, we all just gelled, from all the trips we took, bringing new guys in. When DC came in, when Rajon came in, they came in a little later. They still was able to gel quickly with us. And I feel like we just created that brotherhood in the locker room to where, I'm not too big for somebody else not to say something to me. Elijah's not too big for somebody not to say something to him. So I feel like we all can, take accountability with each other. And I don't feel like it's a lot of egos in the locker room. It's just everybody playing together. And I feel like that translates to the court well, and we're able to play with each other well.
No, I agree. I say that on air, in the radio, and when I'm talking to people around town. This is a really, really close team. You obviously guys went through a lot last year. A bunch of you guys came back, and then the four pieces we've added, to this puzzle have you guys have done a great job of getting those guys where it feels like they were with us last year, right? Already at this point, to a lot of the experiences that we had. All right, real quick, change it a little bit, man. So a shout out to the students a little bit. DT, we try to get them inside of DT's life. What music are you into right now? So we have like pregame music, right? And then we have chill music, right? Not game day music. I know you're into a lot of music. I hear it from my office every day at 11 o'clock when you're in there and getting your individual workout in, and you'll switch it up on me from time to time. But what's DT into these days?
Man, I'm into, like you said, a little bit of everything. I like to go old school a lot when I'm working out. I remember you texted me one day about my playlist, man. I think I got the best playlist on the team. I
would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that. We got to work a little Texas country in.
Yeah, I got to get in. I got to get in.
Rajon's been blasting it when you've been in there working out a little bit with Rajon.
Country music, so I got to get in touch with Rajon about that.
Yeah, any go-to pregame that you listen to, or you switch it up a little bit?
Pregame, I switch it up. Sometimes I can go rap, I can go gospel. Sometimes I can go a lot of different music before pregame. It just how it feels on the day.
Day in the mood we're in. Yeah, I got you. All right, favorite spot to eat?
My favorite spot to eat over here right now is Track One. I like the wings at Track One.
Track One's wings, man. Yeah,
I like Track One.
What do they call it? The double dip? Double dip them. Yeah, double dip them. I like them a lot. Yeah, we had the whole ball squad there a couple weeks ago, man. We took over the whole back of the caboose. Had a heck of a time in there with the double dip.
Yeah.
What about around campus, man? What's a kind of a go-to around campus?
Around campus?
I know you're staring out the window, man. You go to Chipotle 5 times a week, man. But give them something else,
I like
man.
Chipotle, but it's a spot next
What's
to
your go-to at Chipotle?
I really don't even know. I just point to the ones that I don't know what I'm talking about in there, so I just point to what I go.
What's the other spot?
The pizza joint.
Pizza joint,
I like
man.
the pizza joint over there a lot after practice a lot.
I talked about that a couple weeks ago, man. Get you a slice of pizza, you get 2 bread rolls and a drink. No reason to pay for the Coke, right? Might as well get water. It's free. We got to stay hydrated out here in the El Paso heat anyways, man. But I do think the pizza joint's a good spot, man, too. So, well, hey, man, you know how I feel about you. I love you, dude. Excited to coach you this year, man. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. I know our fans are excited to watch you. Pedro, excited.
We're too excited.
Almost a turnover there with Pedro.
Oh, good.
We're trying to value the basketball this year, DT.
Yeah.
Trying to take care of it. We've done a good job in our exhibition game, in our first game.
Yep.
Trying to take care of the basketball, man. But great having you on, man. As always, man. Look forward to a great season. I know our fans will be excited to learn a little bit more about DT.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate David Terrell coming on the podcast. Final segment here. Let's run through the week of events. Obviously, we're at Utah Valley Saturday, and then we're back home next Tuesday against UT Permian Basin. But we're not the only people with home action.
Yeah, Colin, we got a lot going on, man.
Tons of stuff.
Got a lot going on, man, this week, man. So women's basketball, man, big day. Yeah. Sunday, November 10th. We are playing Morehead State here at 6 o'clock Sunday night. And so important that it's UTEP women's basketball. Obviously, that's important, but Kayla Thornton, man. They're going to honor her. It's Kayla Thornton Day, and it's going to be, I know Coach Adams is fired up, one of her former players to win a WNBA championship. It just doesn't happen all the time. Yeah, how about that, man? But huge deal. They got the big win in the Game 5, and so she'll be here. She'll be on campus. And so we get to celebrate her, and I look forward to being there as well. Awesome stuff. Football has got Kennesaw State. I think they're playing at the same time we are. So football home. It's senior day, and is it homecoming?
I believe
it's
so,
homecoming.
yes.
I saw the uniforms.
Yeah.
Bringing out the old orange.
The
old orange and the old blue.
18.
Yeah, I like it, man. I got that shirt that I wear, man, all the time with those colors, man. But I think it is homecoming. It's obviously senior day as well. But a big home game against Kennesaw State at 2 o'clock. Rifle is at number 13 Nebraska. I was at a head coaches meeting the other day. We were 15th in the country. Now we're moving on up, doing a heck of a job there. And then volleyball. Volleyball is at Liberty this weekend. And then I think we have Kennesaw State the following weekend, and then Conference USA. For our students out there, Ben Wallace mentioned this at the head coaches meeting the other day. Students get free tickets. Let me say this again. Free tickets to the Conference USA volleyball tournament that we're hosting. So we got to get that message out to our students. Free tickets here to the Conference USA.
You don't like free stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, man. And I'm sure Ben can throw some free pizzas in there for you, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I can help Ben out with that. Maybe I throw some free pizzas.
I would.
Yeah, maybe I throw some free pizzas in. I'll talk to Coach Wallace. We'll get creative on this. But we need our students there. Obviously, for the Conference USA championships. We got a heck of an opportunity here to host those deals. So those are coming up, man. So busy week going on campus. And as always, man, looking forward to supporting the Miners, man.
Right. One note on Kayla Thornton, we are getting her on the podcast on Sunday.
That's right, man. I heard Sunday before the game. That's the rumor, man, right?
That's the rumor.
I'm fired up. I'm just going to shut up and listen, right? I'm going to ask a few questions, but I'm going to have Coach Adams and her go at it and tell stories. And I'm a big fan, man. I love her toughness. I love how she plays. She's a winner. She does everything that affects winning, whether that's rebounding, that's extra pass, whether that's setting screens, whether that's guarding. She is a winner. Winner. Irving High School, I think, dedicated her the other night and hung her jersey, retired her number, her jersey. And obviously we're doing a big deal for her on November 10th. So I'm excited to sit down and visit with her.
All right. Anything else you want to touch on?
No, man. As always, go Miners, man.
Yeah. He needs to get back in the office and watch Phil.
I need a Red Bull.
Sounds good. That's the Golden Hour. We'll be back next week. Looking forward to it. Thanks for tuning in.